Are you struggling to pay your credit card debt? If so, you're not alone. Recently, in a study, it showed that Americans owe over $1 trillion in credit card debt. In this video, I'm going to tell you how you can deal with your credit card issue through Chapter 7 bankruptcy, what the consequences are, and what the process is like. But first, if this is your first time here to my YouTube channel, go ahead and click subscribe by clicking on the little bell there. That way you'll be notified each and every week when we put out new videos that help you to deal with serious debt problems. All right, let's talk about credit card debt and how you can deal with it through a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. There becomes a point where credit cards, with you fall behind on them, they get you're delinquent, they start jacking up the interest rates on them, and it becomes almost impossible to get caught up with them. So a lot of people look at a possible Chapter 7 bankruptcy filing when the credit card debt gets to a situation where they can't pay it, you're running into a job loss, medical issue, whatever it is. Chapter 7 can be a way to effectively deal with credit card bills. Now, it's important to understand Chapter 7 bankruptcy is different than like Chapter 13 and Chapter 11 in that it's really designed specifically to deal with unsecured debts. These are debts that don't have any collateral attached to them. Secured debts are things like car loans, home loans, some type of property or collateral is actually attached to the loan. An unsecured debt is a credit card, a medical bill, a lot of personal loans. Those types of debts are unsecured. Little asterisks here. Some other unsecured debts that don't go away in Chapter 7 bankruptcy are things like taxes and student loans. Typically, there are some situations where those can go away, but for purposes of this video, I'm not talking about taxes or student loans. We're going to focus on the credit card debt, medical bills, personal loans. In the typical Chapter 7 case, those debts are eliminated completely. They're discharged by the bankruptcy court. This means that you no longer have any type of legal obligation to pay those debts. Now, in order to qualify for this, you don't have to be behind on your bills. You don't even have to have a certain amount of debt, which surprises a lot of people. But you do have to have a certain income based upon your household size. Essentially, you have to qualify for it. They call this the means test. And in each state, this is different, and even in different counties, it can be different throughout various states. And these numbers change even quarterly. So how it works is they look at your household size, the number of people that live in the home, and then the household income that's used to support that home. So for instance, when I'm recording this video in July of 2020, in Arizona, for an individual, it's roughly about $52,000 as far as the cap on the income that you can make on an annual basis if you want to file for Chapter 7. If your income is a little bit above that, that's typically fine. There's different deductions that can be made, health insurance premiums, life insurance premiums, some car payments, taxes. Those kinds of things can be deducted to help get you below it. If your income's too far over that $52,000 number, and again, that number changes quite often, and it's different from state to state. But if it was way over it, then you're probably looking at a Chapter 13. But if you're under that or right around there, then you're going to be able to qualify for a Chapter 7. Now, the benefit to it is twofold. One, it stops all collections against you. So if you're facing like a credit card lawsuit, by a junk debt buyer, or maybe the original creditor is suing you, you can stop that, you can stop wage garnishment, and you can eliminate that underlying debt through the Chapter 7 process. Now, the Chapter 7 process takes about 4 to 5 months from beginning to end, and the end is when you receive your discharge order. The process itself is really mostly a lot of paperwork. In Arizona, it's about an 80 to 90 page document that we draft with information on you, information about your income, your expenses, your debts, and certain financial transactions over the last couple of years. There's only one time when you have to go to court, and that's really with a bankruptcy trustee, where they just put you under oath and ask you if the information you've submitted to the court is accurate. And right now, in the COVID-19 pandemic, that's even done over the telephone. So that's something that makes it a little bit easier. Now, let's get to the consequences of a Chapter 7 filing, because it probably sounds pretty great that you can actually eliminate the debts, but then you're saying, well, what's the catch here? What's going to be the consequences of that? The consequences are a Chapter 7 will stay on your credit report for 10 years. If you look at your credit report, there's a public record section, and that's where it will show up, showing that you filed for bankruptcy. I can tell you that the real-world impact of a Chapter 7 bankruptcy affects people generally for about 2 to 3 years. Like FHA will do home loans again 2 years after a Chapter 7. Car lenders, credit cards, those are available for good or for bad almost immediately you're just going to get better interest rates the further you get away from it. So I don't ever sugarcoat it. There's definitely consequences to filing a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, but most people are able to recover much more quickly than they think. If you want to learn more about the bankruptcy process, I have a lot of other videos here on my YouTube channel. Go ahead and click on them, some of the playlists that I have on that, and it will give you more detailed information about the process. Thanks for watching today.